We have Brad from SC Digital on, talk to us all about LinkedIn today and give you all a lot of helpful strategies.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
So we're talking about LinkedIn today, and I just want to kind of get started with a few basic points. The hard part with LinkedIn is that many times we want things to sort of take shape quickly. We want to see quick results. I'm kind of here to tell you that LinkedIn is much better. It's a much better strategy when it is viewed as a long-term strategy. When your actions on LinkedIn are viewed as a long-term investment, you are building connections and you are demonstrating who you are as a professional. And those are things that can take a lot of time to build up over time. But when you do, and when you do it using the strategies, the types of strategies that we'll talk about today, this tends to grow your business exponentially, but only if you understand that it's going to be quite a bit of work at the beginning. There's a few basic ways that you can go about managing LinkedIn, advertising on LinkedIn. The first one is just posting on your profile and having a great profile. And that is where most LinkedIn trainings spend the majority of the time, is like, how can I make my profile stand out? What should my headline be? What should my picture be? And so on and so forth. This sort of assumes that you have done all of those things. This assumes that you have a good LinkedIn profile. You are publishing a little bit of content here and there. It doesn't have to be a crazy amount, but once a week, once every couple of weeks is fantastic. You can also advertise, as in use the advertising capabilities, which are very similar to Facebook advertising. We're not really going to cover that on today's webinar. Today, what we're mostly going to talk about is outbound marketing and specifically prospecting to make connections on LinkedIn. Number three, it's not about selling, right? I think that this is something where LinkedIn gets a little bit of a bad rap because every single time we open up our LinkedIn, we're always sort of being sold something. Somebody's trying to connect with us and sell us something. And it seems like there's just this breeding ground for people that are just trying to force their offer on us. And I'm more of the mindset that I'm not trying to sell something to anybody on LinkedIn. What I am trying to do is connect with the right people on LinkedIn, which then results in sales. And there's a very systematic way that we go about doing that. Regular LinkedIn is not enough to really do this right. To truly take advantage and harness the power of LinkedIn, you at least need to be using LinkedIn Sales Navigator, which essentially takes all the information from LinkedIn's database, because it does collect a lot of information, and it puts it into a format that you as a professional can use to find your perfect target client or your target connection. And I will show you how it works. I'll show you how to use it in a few minutes here. We're not looking for customers. What we're actually looking for on LinkedIn is people that already have our customers, right? Because every customer is trying, people are trying to sell things to every person out there. But in reality, all of your perfect clients or your perfect target customers already work with other people before they come to you. So the really frustrating and difficult way to use LinkedIn is to go direct to that target customer and try to get through all of the noise all the time. The easier way to use LinkedIn, and the way that we have found is far more beneficial, is to actually go in the other direction and try to connect with people who can connect you with your perfect target customer. And finally, LinkedIn is not for every business, right? Not every business needs to be using LinkedIn in the way that we're talking about here. I do believe that, you could pretty much anybody can run an ad on LinkedIn, or anybody can have a profile on LinkedIn. But as far as what we're talking about here, it's not for everyone. It's for most people. And you may be surprised at how you can creatively sort of figure out how to use the platform to grow your business. But I'm certainly not going to say that it works for everybody. When you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail, right? And we try not to be hammers in the agency. That's why we have a lot of different, offerings and different services that we offer to customers and clients of all different types. Let's just first sort of start with, I'm going to show you my LinkedIn for a second. And I want you to just take a look. If you can see my screen. And my question is, what do all of these people have in common? These are all people that have invited me to connect. Go ahead.
They don't want to, one, they don't send a personalized message, or two, they're not clear on what they actually do or who they're looking to connect with.
Absolutely.
And why.
Yep. Not personalized. Many of them are not personalized, and they're not clear on what they do. Absolutely. What else? Anything else stand out to you?
You have shared connections with most of them.
I do. Yep. Got shared connections. Absolutely. Here's what stands out to me when I look at this. There's two things, actually. First of all, every single person here pretty much is trying to sell me something. And number two, every one of them, or the vast majority of them, are starting with something about themselves. I thought it would be great to add, I hope you are doing great. I this, I that. And here, I'd like to add you to my professional network. I recently moved to Boston. Everything is all about them, right? But they're trying to connect with me. But they are, it's primarily more they're telling me what's valuable for them instead of immediately keying into what's valuable for me. So and I think that's a real problem, because quite frankly, there's everybody on this call, right? Primarily, we care about ourselves, right? I mean, not that we're not altruistic, not that we're not charitable, not that we don't care about the people around us, but when we're talking about opening up our LinkedIn inbox, I'm not thinking about what this person wants, or what this person was hoping for, or what this person would like to do, or what they thought, or it doesn't matter to me. And they're all trying to sell me whatever their services are. So nothing is being really phrased as a benefit to the customer. So those are two things that I think that, first of all, we just need to avoid, period, end of story. You just have to avoid the, I want to do this and I thought it would be great to do that, and instead start thinking about phrasing everything as a benefit to the person that you're talking to. So before we move into what to do next, let's first talk about kind of what this strategy actually looks like. If we want to connect with more people using LinkedIn, the first thing we have to do is figure out who we actually want to be connecting with, who we want to target, who is the best person for us to collaborate with. Number two, we want to define what that approach is. So we talked about it a second ago. What do we want that message to be? What do we want the value proposition to be? What is the benefit to the person on the other end to connecting with me? It can't just be because I felt like it would be a good idea to connect. Nobody has time for that. We need to have a different approach that actually is beneficial to that person. So we'll talk about that in a second. And then the third thing is what's the call to action going to be? If we connect with somebody, then how are we going to actually move that relationship forward? Are we going to meet in person? Are we going to have a Zoom? Are we going to have a phone call? What's that basically all going to look like? So I'm going to use a real life sort of example here, because I'm working through this with a friend of mine who is looking to increase his network. His name is Ryan Morency. Ryan is a real estate investor. He basically wants to talk to property owners. He wants to talk to people who have distressed homes, who are looking to sell quickly, basically for, anybody that owns a home that's looking to get out of it. That is the perfect customer for Ryan. And he said, geez, Brad, how can I get in front of more of those people? I brought up LinkedIn, and, his question was kind of like, well, why does LinkedIn matter? Who should I be looking for on LinkedIn? Because many times somebody's first reaction is, well, how am I going to find people that own homes on LinkedIn? Everybody owns a home, right? How do I know if somebody's home is distressed by looking them up on LinkedIn? How is that going to work? You do want that customer, but you're not going to find that person on LinkedIn. Instead, who you're going to find on LinkedIn is going to be people who already are connecting with those people who own the homes that are distressed, be it somebody who is in there fixing up a wall that is caved in, or somebody that is replacing carpet, or somebody that is a restoration professional who's cleaning up water in somebody's basement and can sort of sense maybe that homeowner is frustrated with their station and is probably looking to get out of it, right? These are the people who my friend Ryan should be connecting with, because these are the people that get in on the deals before they even become deals, before home investors even understands that person may be in the market, right? So that is where he is going to want to connect, is going to be other people that are already sort of in the, already in the market and that share a client base. So how does he do that? So here's Ryan's profile, right? First thing that we do, remember how before I said we need to use Sales Navigator. So Sales Navigator is like, I think $80-90 a month. But if he gets one client using Sales Navigator, it pays for itself 1,000 times over. He's in New Hampshire and he's looking to speak with people in New Hampshire who, are going to have the in on people that are looking to sell their homes quickly. First thing that he would do is he would just come to Sales Navigator. He would filter just people in New Hampshire, and let's just use the keyword handyman. So I got 659 potential results. Handymen who are on Sales Navigator, who are on LinkedIn. So he would search for these people and he would reach out directly to the people who are already talking to his perfect target client. as I look down this list, great person for Ryan to know, great person for Ryan to know, great person for Ryan to know. Every single one of these people could be awesome potential connections for Ryan, because you know what? If he connects with 25 of these people, maybe not a single one of them has a referral for him this month. Maybe not within 3 months, maybe not even within 6 months. If you remember back on the first or second slide, one of the first things we said is this is a long-term strategy, right? We're trying to build relationships with the people that are going to be able to send us business over the long term, not just people that have connections right now. But I want Eric Chason to know about me if I'm a home flipper or a real estate investor. And by the way, if I happen to have a referral fee or some type of finder's fee, or some type of revenue sharing agreement, that is something that I want to share with Eric sooner rather than later, so that he has every reason to want to send referrals my way if I am Ryan. Not every industry can do that, right? There are certainly laws and regulations around a lot of that in many industries, but if you happen to be in an industry where that is not the case, then you should offer it, and you should offer it early. And also just sort of find reasons why it's beneficial to the other person to send referrals your way. It doesn't have to be money. Maybe it's something different. Maybe it's some other type of benefit. But either way, your connection can't feel that it's about your self-interest. It has to be about them. How do you actually make the connections? What does the process actually look like? First of all, the introductory message and the connection request needs to be phrased in a way that is beneficial to the other person. Again, we just looked at kind of 25 different people that all want to connect with me, probably because they want to sell me something. And every single one of them said, I want to do this and I want to do that. After you've connected with that person, set up a call, set up a meeting. Easily provide your calendar link, invite them to a Zoom call, maybe just a 5-minute Zoom call. So for instance, if it's Ryan, maybe he's reaching out to Eric and the invitation is, let's jump on a quick Zoom call and discuss some ways that we can potentially collaborate and refer business to one another. Many of my contacts are in your area and I could potentially send them your way. Maybe there's an opportunity for you to make some additional income. And that is more the approach, as opposed to, I wanted to connect with you because it would be great to add you to my network. It doesn't work. Now, you're always going to want to make sure to provide a very clear call to action. So a next step, let's set up that next Zoom call. Let's set up that phone call, whatever the case may be. Here's some mistakes and some traps to avoid, right? Number one, again, we never want to be trying to sell. We never want to sell that first contact. It's never about that. It is always about connecting and collaborating and referring business back and forth between one another, working together to create more business. I don't think that you should try to do this the slow way, which is going through every single person and sending a message to every single person, and personalizing the message every single time. Number one, because in a sense, this is a volume play in a lot of cases. So you need to be sending out a good amount of connection requests. And most of us professionals just don't have the time to spend an hour to 2 hours a day to do this. There are tools that you can use, one of which is called Copilot, which I'll show you in a second, which does automate this to an extent, right? It'll personalize the invitation, but in general, the introductory message is going to be the same, because it pretty much is going to be the same depending on the profession that you're going after, right? So you need to automate what you can so that you can get the volume. Otherwise, you're going to do it the slow way, and it's just going to take too long, and ultimately you get frustrated because most of us just don't have the time to put into it if we're going to go sort of at a snail's pace. When people do engage, and they will engage, there are people out there that want to talk to you. You just have to make sure that you contact enough people to ultimately find the ones who want to talk to you, right? But when people do engage, you've got to make sure that you're there to respond back to their message, right? So if they say, yeah, I'd love to talk more about that, great. Pick it right up and keep that ball rolling. Otherwise, if somebody sort of falls out of interest, then it's very, very hard to get them back. So you do have to respond quickly. And number 4, don't forget to have a value proposition. If there is an opportunity for finder's fees and collaboration, referrals, maybe the chance that I might be able to send you business and you send me, there has to be a value proposition for the other person. So think about that and sort of define what that is before you start your campaign. Otherwise, it really won't get anywhere, because again, people really want everything to be phrased as a benefit to them. That's just the way, that's marketing. Period. Consider what your value is and how you're going to bring value to the other person before you bother connecting with them. Don't get too heavy into the value proposition before you've actually started talking to the person. if you spend too much time communicating back and forth through LinkedIn's Messenger, and this goes for Facebook as well, this goes for a lot of things, in most cases, you're better off getting on that Zoom call, creating that connection, or getting on that phone call, or having that in-person meeting, whatever it is. Otherwise, if all you do is just have your Messenger conversation, you're very likely to end up with, yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, thanks for the heads up. And you won't actually get anywhere. You want to create that relationship. That's what this is all about, and networking with the right people. Don't get frustrated if this does not work right away, because it is, to an extent, a numbers game, just like any marketing. There is a certain degree of patience that needs to be exercised with this. You do need to connect with a fair number of people before you start getting those connections sort of flowing in. But as soon as you do that, as soon as you commit to a strategy like this, where you're connecting with other people that are in complementary industries to yours, you will see people start to respond and want to talk to you as well, especially if it's beneficial to them. And you'll start making those long-term connections. First thing that you need is Sales Navigator. The second thing that you need is something like this. It doesn't have to be Copilot. There's lots of other tools like this. We just happen to use Copilot because it works very well. Copilot syncs up directly with LinkedIn Sales Navigator. And so if I add, let's just say I'm my friend Ryan over here, and I'm in Ryan's profile, I'm Ryan, right? If I add any of these people, and my Copilot tool is synced up to LinkedIn Sales Navigator, then they will automatically go into a campaign that I have created in Copilot, and they will automatically receive an inbound message, and even a secondary message, and a third, fourth, and a fifth message if I want to, but I usually stop at 2. So I just kind of picked a random date range here. We send out 360 invites. We connect with 137 new people. We get 26 interested replies. So people that are saying, yeah, sure, I'd love to collaborate. Yes, I would love to talk more about your affiliate program and learn how we can share some business back and forth between each other, right? Or share some referrals back and forth. And then you're able to just really communicate directly with the other person through here. This first message can only be a maximum of like 225 characters or something like that. So it's got to be quick, short, sweet. But this right here can basically be whatever you want. So this is where you get into your value proposition. This is the second message that the person gets. You can run this on your own for your own business. People in your office can run this. You can have a virtual assistant run this for you. There's a lot of different ways that you can go about this. But the beauty of the tool is that it automates the part of the process that most people just don't want to do. You know, I just don't want to go and do all that prospecting. I'm fine with having a conversation with somebody once I know they're interested, but I don't really want to go and create and establish all those connections from the very beginning, because it just takes a long time.
Alrighty, we'll let you all go here. Look forward to connecting with you all later, and there will be a follow-up email with the resources. So thank you again, Brad. Always great to have you.
You bet.
Thank you.
Everybody have a good day.
Thank
Happy
you.
holidays.
Thank you.
Yeah.